Selamat Pagi and good morning of November 20th through the 26th of November in the year 2017. And it was in this week that I finally got myself a sarong, which is it's a cloth that is very similar to the Polynesian lava lava, but this one is seamed on the side. So it's basically a tube, and you climb into it and you tie it around your waist, just like a lava lava, but it is called a sarong. There's a couple different ways to wear it. And I finally got one. I had wanted one pretty badly, and I finally was able to get my hands on one, which was really nice. It was also in this week that I got my first dragon fruit. And the dragon fruit is like a kiwi, but a little less sour, a little less acidic, um, and it was really delicious. It was incredible, and I loved it. It's like a dull kiwi, but it's much larger. And it is red in color or white in color, and I prefer the red ones. They're a little sweeter. So dragon fruit, one of my new one of my new favorite fruits, and a sarong. That was my preparation day for this week on the 20th, and this week was also my first exchange. I had an exchange with Elder Mansfield, and it was my very first exchange. Elder Mansfield brought me into his area, into Batu Kawa, and at first I was a little bit upset, but I kind of changed my attitude. And I had a really good time. And so Elder Mansfield asked me a question as to how to kind of break out of your comfort zone a little bit and talk to strangers. And I gave him an example. I stood up. We were at lunch in the MJC, which is an area next to the apartments in Batu Kawa for the elders, and we were at lunch there, and I stood up and I walked over to the first person I saw, and I sat down and started a conversation with him, and it kind of helped him realize that it's okay to just talk to people, which was really fun. This was my first encounter with the Madang family, and Brother Madang is deaf; he cannot hear, and he's in Batu Kawa, and the rest of his family, all but one of them, one of his sons, cannot hear. The rest of them, they all use sign language, and it was my first time meeting them. At this time, he had this cool little ponytail in the back of his head. He's got these nice, bright blue eyes, which is very uncommon for Asians, and just absolutely incredible guy. We love him to death, and there was also Brother Stephen Bong, who is also deaf. He's also a member of that branch, and it was nice to get to know them, and later on in my mission, I would re-encounter with them. But as of now, this was my first meeting with them, and this exchange with Elder Mansfield went really well, and I became really good friends with Elder Mansfield. As a matter of fact, we talked quite a bit about our personal lives late into the night, before waking up and getting to work. But yeah, Elder Mansfield would later become one of my best friends from the mission field, and he was my first exchange. Now on Thanksgiving, which was that Thursday, we went over to Elder and Sister Maggleby's apartment, and they served this nice, spectacular Thanksgiving dinner, and it was just a good Thanksgiving, and I remember writing in my journal. I actually wrote it down, and I've reread it, but I wrote this ode to my life. I wrote "I love my life," and with all exclamation points and all capitals, and I was just living the dream, doing what um, doing what I have always wanted to do, I guess. and kind of go be me and do something that's important to me. And another cool thing that happened was it didn't start off cool, it started off really hot. As a matter of fact, there was a day when it was about 95 degrees, probably, or more, and it was very humid, so it probably felt more like 100 or 105 degrees Fahrenheit. I was pretty uncomfortable and pretty hot, and it was really upsetting to me because I cannot stand the heat. And I don't like the hot. I like the snow. I like the cold. I don't like hot anything, pretty much. And we met a member by accident, really, who was not he was not currently active. He, in this moment in his life, had other things going on. He couldn't make it to church, and he was one of the kindest people ever. He was so happy to see us, and he was very hands-on. He shook my hand, and he was rubbing his thumb on my hand and touching my elbow, and we were sitting there, and he'd grab my knee when he said something. He was just very touchy, very very friendly, very touchy guy, and we loved him to death. He had probably him and his wife had probably 6 or 7 cats, and they were just all over the place. And I am allergic to cats, but I was living in the city of Kuching, which again is the word for cat in Malay, and I very quickly had to build up a tolerance for it. And so in these first few transfers, I played with cats all the time. I had a runny nose, itchy eyes, but I built up a tolerance to it. This was also where I participated in my first blessing of the mission. I had participated in blessings before my mission, but it was this week that Sister Rita had requested a blessing because of some family issues that were going on, and she was a non-member. She was a person that we were teaching, and it was a very spiritual experience. I accidentally spilt my oil all over my hand, but we got a drop onto her scalp, which was nice, of the consecrated oil, and gave her blessing, and it was very spiritual, and I could feel the Spirit really strongly. I was also the Sunday school teacher, and so I had to teach Sunday school, which was really hard for me because I was not very good at the language yet. And there was one time, I believe it was this week, that I kind of had a breakdown. I was like, told everyone to just stop talking and pay attention, and I was trying my hardest, and I had Elder Ung translate for me a little bit, which was nice. But that'll about wrap up this week. This week in the mission field. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time on the Selamat Pagi podcast.